right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
Tonight, searching for solutions. We know you're sick of hearing about all the bad news, so how do we change it? 5 on Your Side starts traveling the country, finding ways to transform the St. Louis region.
Gusty winds continue tonight, though they have weakened a bit. Now, we remain in an active pattern. The change is coming our way over the next 36 hours.
But first tonight, set free.
28 years. That's more than half of his life he's actually spent in prison.
A St. Louis man spends decades behind bars proclaiming his innocence. Tonight, his murder conviction is overturned. Tonight, after nearly 28 years in prison, Lamar Johnson is a free man. Good evening, I'm Mike Bush.
And I'm Ann Allred. A judge threw out Johnson's murder conviction from 1995.
Our Laura Barczewski is live outside the courthouse tonight. She sat down with the special prosecutor to talk about this historic case. Laura.
Mike and Ann, there wasn't a dry eye in this courthouse today as Lamar Johnson stepped out into downtown St. Louis, taking his first steps as a free man. His family is now so happy he's finally home.
The conviction of Lamar Johnson in State v. Lamar Johnson, calls 22-941-37068. is hereby set aside.
49-year-old Lamar Johnson spent half of his life in prison for the murder of Marcus Boyd. For nearly 30 years, he has maintained his innocence.
We showed that the city of St. Louis and the state of Missouri is about justice and not defending the finality of a conviction.
Special Prosecutor Jonathan Potts says they spent a year investigating this case before filing a motion in August of last year to get the conviction thrown out.
We actually brought the true murderer out, and he confessed in the open courtroom and admitted that he and not Lamar Johnson had actually killed the victim.
Do you think the justice system truly wronged him in this case?
It absolutely did. This case, on one level is about Lamar, and it's about making sure that an innocent person doesn't spend the rest of their life in prison. But it's also about the justice system being accountable for its own mistakes.
Activist Reverend Darrell Gray says this is truly liberating.
I told him that he is the answer to someone's prayer.
Gray says this is encouraging and gives him hope for all of the other innocent incarcerated people.
This shows that the legislation can work, that the process can work, that justice can work if you apply it fairly.
As Johnson walked out of the holding area a free man, he thanked Circuit Court Judge David Mason, his attorneys, and everyone fighting for his freedom.
All of the people who came out and supported me, and this is over.
His family was overwhelmed and so happy to have him home.
He's now going to be able to have those relationships that he's been putting off for the past 28 years of his life. And like you said, in April, I think he's going to be able to walk his daughter down the aisle.
Johnson shared these last few words before riding off to start his life over again.
I'm glad to be free.
Johnson's attorneys say they don't know quite what's next for him, but he's going to start by finding a stable place to live to rebuild his life. Reporting live from downtown St. Louis, Laura Barczewski, 5 on Your Side.
Tonight, the winds have weakened across St. Louis. A wind advisory was canceled about 2 hours ago. Weather First Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell is now tracking a big Wednesday warm-up. Scott.
It is going to be fairly mild across the area as we head into tomorrow. What a day it's been across St. Louis. We had those heavier showers pushing in this afternoon. And yes, we had the gusty winds as that band of stronger showers pushed through the metro area. Some of our wind gusts topped 40 miles per hour. Lambert came in with 45. At the Vichy Rala Airport, a 51-mile-per-hour wind gust. Now, winds are still gusting 25 to 30 miles per hour right now, and that'll continue for a while longer. But the threat of stronger wind gusts, 40 to 45 or 50 miles per hour, that's subsided for the night as this system pulls away. What we're not seeing with this system is cool air. And at this point, we're going to stay in the 40s for overnight lows. The rain has ended. It's still breezy. Maybe we'll see that occasional gust to 35 miles per hour, but it is mild and it is dry. During the day on Wednesday, some of us could approach 70 degrees. We'll tell you why St. Louis may not quite get there tomorrow in a few minutes.
Thank you, Scott. New tonight, Justice for Jana Elementary. That is the name of a new bill Senator Josh Hawley is proposing.
It calls for the federal government to foot the bill for testing schools impacted by radioactive contamination. Our Brent Solomon joins us with more on the plan.
Mike, and Senator Hawley wants to create what he calls the Radioactive School Assistance Program. We're talking up to $20 million that can be used for testing, cleaning up, and even rebuilding.
Just amazing.
Jana Elementary's PTA president, Ashley Bernal, may be a familiar face because she's been vocal about radioactive contamination since day one.
Our schools have hurt for such a long time, decades.
She's relieved to see a proposal from Senator Josh Hawley to get help to schools dealing with contamination. Remember this passionate plea from one Hazelwood school board member back in December?
Everybody and their mama was here when there was a photo op. Everybody and their mother, every single representative, every single legislator at our state and federal level sent somebody. Where are they now?
Senator Hawley now pushing his plan at the nation's capital. It says schools impacted by radioactivity should get up to $20 million to rebuild. It also says this: not later than 120 days after the date of the enactment of this act, the Army shall establish new remediation goals for Jana Elementary that will result in the removal of all radioactive contamination so that no portion of the site is subjected to radiation above background levels.
All the time, politicians can tell you they're working on things, and we are just so thankful to be heard.
Tuesday, Representative Cori Bush's office told 5 on Your Side she's also working to get results, including meeting with the Environmental Protection Agency next week. Now, under this plan, a school district cannot be denied funding because of previous remediation efforts by the federal government. I'm going to keep a close eye on this proposal as federal lawmakers go line by line.
A controversial bill at the Missouri State House dealing with sexual orientation and identity in schools has advanced through a Senate committee with some major changes. The bill originally would have banned school employees who are not licensed mental health professionals from discussing gender identity or sexual orientation with K through 12 students. Under the revised legislation, schools would have to notify parents if their child questions their gender identity and asks to use different pronouns. It would also ban teachers from identifying students by their preferred gender without the parents' permission. Tonight, 2 automakers are making it official. Hyundai and Kia are now offering free software upgrades to stop skyrocketing car thefts. The I-Team first reported a fix was in the works last week. Thefts spike after a social media trend showed how easy it was to steal many Hyundai and Kias within seconds. More than 8 million cars are affected. Hyundai is providing the software to the most frequently stolen models first. Kia has already started offering the update to some customers.
Every night, there are news stories about the region's deterioration and failures. So tonight, we are committing as a news organization to find solutions. What will it take to turn our region around? Is it even possible? Some say a certain lawsuit could be the foundation for solutions. Could heartbroken Rams fans and the city left behind now be the key to healing our region? The Rams settlement money doled out $419 million to St. Louis City and County. And some say that cash could be the remedy to revive the region.
We have to put our money where our mouth is and really invest in the areas that need it the most.
Mike Wood says that place is just 2 miles down the road from the Rams' old stadium.
I'm fighting as hard as I possibly can to change the narrative about North St. Louis City.
Wood's nonprofit, Dream Builders for Equity, is paying teens $15 an hour to rehab houses in Hyde Park and provide reasonably priced real estate for residents. The goal of homeownership is twofold: a chance to build generational wealth and make people invest in their community.
you want to pick up the trash that's across the street because you know that it all impacts you directly. So home ownership, I think, could be a real key to transforming St. Louis.
Woods also wants to transform the North City business community, specifically the strip of North 14th Street near Crown Candy.
Getting folks excited about shopping north, and then also getting folks excited about living north.
He's opening House of Vision this month, a retail shop that lets local teens create and sell merchandise. He's hoping their success will convince other business owners to open up shop.
We're doing things that...
And across the city-county line, more solutions are in the works. Chris Krameyer is the president of Beyond Housing, a community building organization that has spent $175 million over the last 10-plus years within the boundaries of the Normandy Schools Collaborative District, where most families live in poverty. The mission? Focus on one geographic area and create resources disinvested communities don't have. Things like housing. The organization has rehabbed hundreds of homes like these, offering affordable rent. And they built and own this strip on Page with basic things a community needs, like a grocery store, a bank, and a health facility.
Giving you all the tools to be successful, because if you as a family are successful, and if your neighborhood is successful, then your community is successful, then guess what? The region is going to be healthier and stronger.
Tools that create a ripple effect and repair our region.
Tonight, we're searching for solutions. 5 on Your Side travels to Detroit, which has gone from rock bottom to a renaissance.
So I think other cities had stuff to teach Detroit. I think Detroit has a lot to teach other cities.
Coming up, the investments revving up the Motor City that could hold the keys to our city's future. Crime, people moving out, and businesses leaving town. St. Louis is a city on the decline, but tonight we're committing to a year-long series called Searching for Solutions to see what other cities are doing to turn things around.
We start in Detroit. It declared bankruptcy, suffered record unemployment, and couldn't recruit new business. Our Mark Maxwell shows us how the Motor City revived its economic engine.
We went on the road to Detroit, Michigan, Motor City, USA, that place that got America where we were going. That same place that broke down, went bankrupt, and very much like St. Louis, needed more than just a tune-up. The city's economic engine needed a total rebuild.
Detroit was broke.
Journalist and author John Gallagher studied urban development in shrinking cities for more than 3 decades.
When I got here in 1987 to work for the Detroit Free Press, the city was still on its long, sad decline.
Until the American auto industry sputtered and stalled, dragging the Motor City down with it.
Detroit hit rock bottom and then some. When you lose 2/3 of the population and 90% of the jobs, and you have 100,000 vacant lots in the city because homes have been abandoned and then burned out, you are at rock bottom.
It's the job of the mayor to bring the city back.
Let me jumpstart my life.
Now, the birthplace of the Queen of Soul is writing a new verse.
Now I got a second chance.
With the help of Los Rel, a nonprofit volunteer who wrote this jingle.
They gon' find you a job, they gon' get you together. Music is not my day job.
But it is helping the long-term unemployed learn skills and find theirs. And
let me jumpstart my life.
It's catching on.
The employment rate has dropped under 7% recently, and just the whole spirit, you can just feel it.
You can see it, too. Signs of revival on the city's skyline, and a grand reveal just around the corner.
So this all exists because of an incredible investment from Ford.
For decades, Michigan Central symbolized the decline of Detroit. The Grand Central train station that once welcomed people from all across the world fell into ruin and disrepair. That iconic architecture, covered in graffiti for so long, will soon host innovators, charting the course for a cleaner generation of scooters, drones, and self-driving cars.
I think there's a real recognition that mobility is something that requires everybody.
Just blocks away,
it had great structure and bones. They don't make construction like this anymore.
A new startup enjoys support from some of the oldest corporate mainstays in the country. Ford, Kellogg, Chase, and their foundations kicked in grant funds distributed through Motor City Match to businesses who put down roots in Detroit.
This hub will actually be an incubator.
Tanya Saldivar Ali and her husband Luis
We really call ourselves a micro business.
won a $65,000 grant to complete construction on their workforce development center, helping other contractors learn the business side of building things.
That'll push us across the finish line.
The city used federal money from the American Rescue Plan to fuel Motor City Match even farther.
It's exciting, but it's also shocking. Being growing here all of our lives, I'm 47, and to see this type of comeback, this is the first time in my lifetime. So older generations have seen Detroit in its glory, but for me, it's the first time we're ever seeing it.
It can take an awful lot to lure a big business to town, but sometimes all a small business needs is a little pick-me-up.
It's hard to start a small business in any city.
A $45,000 grant came in clutch for Sandy Hazelgrave's business.
As a first-time small business owner, the banks were really hesitant to give us a sizable loan.
Her coffee shop just opened its doors here and plans to expand into another location.
Means we can open in 2 months instead of a year.
Let me jumpstart my life.
Whether it's funding businesses,
We now have more than 140 Motor City Match businesses open that would not have been open.
or finding workers,
we're an example of what's possible.
Detroit is getting back to work.
Now I got a second chance.
And the way Detroit brought jobs back may not shock you. Small business grant programs aren't exactly reinventing the wheel after all. Same with workforce training or education scholarship programs. But Detroit used American Rescue Plan funds to expand those programs that already showed promise, including direct payments to people who showed up to just do the work.
And Mark, this is just the first of 4 stories that you found in your travels to Detroit. So what are you focusing on next?
Well, in Detroit, jobs are up and crime is down. And sometimes those two are connected in more ways than you might imagine. We met one worker who kept running into career obstacles from a pair of felony convictions in his past. The city's Project Clean Slate got him off the sidelines and back in the game.
I ran across a flyer for a job fair. After I got my record clean, I was just like, oh, like the sky's the limit. I can do anything. It's a thing that you feel. You can, the way I walk into a room these days is much different.
We'll have his story and an exclusive look inside the Detroit Police Department's real-time crime center to see behind the scenes in their drastic drop-offs in carjackings and shootings. That's next Tuesday night.
All right, Mark, thanks very much. Let's turn now to the weather story, and Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell joins us with the weather first forecast. Scott, we're expecting a beautiful day tomorrow.
You know, tomorrow is going to be a gorgeous day. Now, the temperatures are going to vary, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. Some spots won't be that far above 50, and some spots may be close to 70. And you're saying, why? Well, there'll be a boundary close to St. Louis. Right now at Lambert, we're still in the mid-50s. There's still a pretty good breeze. And did you catch those rainbows this evening? A lot of folks did. And a lot of our weather watchers from our Weather Watcher Facebook group joined us. Jamie sent this in from Gillespie, Illinois. Beautiful color there. Look at how vibrant that picture is. From Judy down in Crystal City. A lot of rainbows to see this evening, but also in some cases, we had a few power outages, we had some trees come down, and it looks like the kids are not going to be playing on this play set down in Grubville from Darren anytime soon. You can join our Facebook group. Just search the 5 on your side, Weather Watchers. We'd love to see your photos. Now, temperatures are staying mild. We still have the breeze, not as strong as it was. Top winds today, 40 to 50 miles per hour for most of us. Now they've settled down to where it's 25 to 35 mile per hour wind gusts, all circulating around this big storm system, the first of 2 that we're dealing with, that's lifting now just south of Minneapolis, and drier air is pushing in, and that's what we'll deal with tomorrow. But our next system's already lurking out here over the Four Corners region. That's going to spread snow across Colorado and essentially and effectively across the plains and really cause some travel problems going into tomorrow night, and into Thursday. But for us, bright sunshine as we go into Wednesday, looking good. Problem is that front's going to be stalled somewhere around St. Louis. The cooler air to the north in the 50s, the warmer air to the south, mid to upper 60s. We'll split the difference at this point in St. Louis and say roughly about 62. Sunshine, it's going to be nice. Now, going into tomorrow night, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, there are your showers pushing in, maybe a rumble of thunder. This system has something that the one we just went through does not have, and that's some cold air behind it. So as this pushes through, we will look for that system to move through St. Louis early on Thursday morning, bringing an end to any showers. Then we'll wrap around colder temperatures. All the snow should stay to our north and west. Temperatures drop as we head towards Friday morning into the lower 20s and only back into the upper 30s to around 40 degrees Friday afternoon. Now, the good news we have is that the weekend turns around and goes the other way, so we warm back to 60 by Sunday. We will have some clouds rolling through at times on Saturday, but the Grand Parade in Soulard will be dry, and it should be, for February, by February standards, pretty comfortable. Tomorrow, though, pick day for sure.
All right, looking forward to it. Thank you, Scott. Here's Frank with sports.
So if you were hoping for a good night for college basketball in the region, you won't like this. But you'll love the hockey story, and we're going to Jupiter for the latest on the Cardinals.
The Sports Desk is brought to you by Jim Butler Chevrolet, the Midwest's #1 Chevy dealer 10 years running.
It doesn't make sense. The Panthers came in red hot with the great Matthew Tkachuk. The Blues had lost 5 out of their last 6 and are on the cusp of a fire sale. Okay, before we bury them, let's just see what happens. Now, the Blues caught a break on goal 1. Torrey Krug misses the net. It ricochets off the board and off the left skate of goalie Spencer Knight. 1-0 Blues. They gave Braden Shen the goal. It actually touched his skate. Opening minute, second period. Shen on a 2-on-1. He says, I'm going to keep it. Good idea. 2-0 Blues. And the Blues weren't messing around. Later in the second, Nick Leddy, who can really skate, can also shoot it. 3-0 Blues. Beautiful in the third. Pavel Buchnevich, Ryan O'Reilly, make it 4-1. 20 seconds later, the franchise players, Robert Thomas, gorgeous pass to Jordan Kyrou. Blues win 6-1. Well, I realized that hitting a baseball is the toughest thing to do in sports. You know what else is really tough? Winning a conference road game in a Power 5 conference. As you're about to see over the next 2 minutes, well, things didn't go well for Mizzou and Illinois. I thought for a moment Dennis Gates was going to lose it, but he's cool hand Luke, so he handled things at Auburn. He had a right to be ticked off. Here's one of the 16 turnovers, and Terrence Flanagan will dunk on the state of Missouri. Auburn up 30-6. Auburn shot 50% from 3. KD Johnson. Mizzou shot 22% from 3, but here's one by Sean East. All Auburn tonight. They hand Mizzou their worst loss of the season, 89-56. Some coaches wear suits or pullovers. Brad Underwood, Illinois, a cool business casual. Illinois could do nothing with Jalen Pickett of Penn State. 1,000 points is great. This is point number 2,000 in his glitzy career. Illinois tried to battle back Ty Rodgers with the emphatic putback jam. Penn State wins it 93-81. So today in Jupiter, Ozzie Smith made an appearance. Won't it be great to see him working with that phenom at short, Mason Wynn? Lars Nootbaar had a batting practice to remember, and the president got paid. Corey Miller has that story.
Welcome to Jupiter, where it's not all palm trees and pop flies. There was some news today. The Cardinals officially announced an extension through 2025 for John Mozeliak. Now, at the helm of the Cardinals, Mozeliak has never had a losing record in 15 seasons, and he is quite excited about the young group of prospects coming through the system, and he wants to be a part of it. And he's not alone.
Well, I think the most exciting thing we have is obviously we have an amazing core on our Major League club right now, but we also have some dynamic players coming up through our system. So, you know, the key will be how do we augment that and where do we do that? Is it free agent? Is it trade? But it's a great foundation to build on. And so when people ask me, like, am I excited about 2023? Yeah, but I'm also excited about 2025. I mean, there's a lot to be excited about here with the St. Louis Cardinals.
You know, everything moving forward is just, you know, icing on the cake. I mean, I think we have a good chance to be something crazy. I mean, especially Burleson as well, but, you know, me, Tink, and Jordan, I mean, that's a nice core. I really think that's a really good core to build around, and I think, you know, us coming up together is going to be huge, huge.
And with top prospects Jordan Walker, Mason Wynn, Tink Hence, and Gordon Graceffo all in big league camp this year, that future could come sooner than expected. Reporting from spring training, I'm Corey Miller, 5 on Your Side Sports.
Corey, thanks. Once again, the Blues win at 6-2. It's 2 in a row. Who knows? Maybe miracles can happen again for the Blues. Let's hope so.
All right, Frank, thanks.
Kansas City, this bud's for you, but beware. The friendly reminder tonight to Chiefs fans about their free bottle of Bud Light.
Well, tomorrow the city of Kansas City will celebrate the Chiefs' Super Bowl victory with a parade. Bud Light announced plans to hand out free beer to the entire city. But city officials say not so fast. Public consumption of alcohol is prohibited. So fans must go to a licensed bar, but they can still get a free Bud there.
Just in time for the Easter season, Pepsi is releasing its Peeps flavored cola to the public. Pepsi Peeps was introduced 2 years ago, but only a few thousand contest winners got a taste. Now the Easter marshmallow flavored soda is being offered to everyone, but only for a limited time.
And Scott has a peep at tomorrow's weather.
Ooh. I am a Peeps fan. You know I like sugar.
Gross.
Mercy, I don't know about that. So tonight, temperatures still in the 50s around St. Louis. By tomorrow morning, we're in the 40s, still above average. In fact, the lows tonight are pretty close to what we would normally expect for your average high temperature. In the 60s for most of us tomorrow, 50s north of St. Louis. Then it gets colder Thursday and Friday.
And there you have it. 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next.
Chip and Joanna Gaines are Jimmy's guests tonight. Start your day with Today in St. Louis at 4 a.m.